Hey everyone, it's Blaze FK7 here today, and I'll be going over my 2021 Honda Civic Hatchback mod list. So it's going to be a full comprehensive guide, so I'll be going everything in detail about what I have on the car, how long I've had it, any problems I've had, and if I recommend it. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so as of right now, this is how the front end looks. So I've done a lot to it since my last mod list, which was around 9 months ago. So things that I haven't changed, I would say, obviously, is probably just the Type R badge in front, which is right over there, and then my headlights, which I've kept. As for the changes, well, biggest difference I would say is probably the carbon fiber hood. So this is specifically the Cybon MR style, I believe, or the MS style. I'll link it in the description, but this was worth 1.3 grand brand new. However, I found it online. I found it at OfferUp for a much cheaper price, so I picked it up for around half the price, half the original price, which I thought was a really good deal. I had my friend just help me install it. It probably took us around 2 hours, but the hardest part was probably just removing the stock hood and then bolting on the windshield wiper fluid and getting the lines throughout the car with the hood. So overall, I'd say appearance wise, this is probably one of the biggest mods I've done in the last couple of months. Obviously my car wasn't really much of a looker before, you know, it was just like, you know, Type R headlights, Type R badge, but nothing to really show that I had performance under the hood. But after the carbon fiber hood, I immediately noticed a lot of people started looking at my car, especially when I was driving. There were so many times when like people were just not paying attention, but as soon as like they saw, you know, this big black hood like right behind them, they'll immediately move over to like the right lane and let me pass. I've noticed a lot more of that. Okay, and then let's see. Oh yeah, so I also forgot to mention I took off the front splitter, which I had on for probably a year. It was the Basin R splitter. I really did like it. I would like to have another one eventually, but the reason why I had to take that off because I had hit a raccoon a couple of months ago, and the insurance eventually did cover it and fixed it, but the splitter that they ordered for me was not the same one, and I just didn't really want to go back and hassle with them over getting a new splitter. Also, I just noticed you can see the intercooler charge pipe right there, so it's kind of cool. Okay, but back to the wheels. So these are the Titan 7 TS5s. So that's just like the name of the model, but what I really like about these wheels is that they say TS5s, Titan 7, and Forge, which look really nice. I believe these ran me back around 3 grand, and I also got the titanium lug nuts that came with those. The reason I chose these wheels is because I had some connections, and eventually I was able to get these for a really good price. And while I installed these new wheels, I also got some Yokohamas wrapped onto there. Now these are, I forgot the exact model, but the 235s, 35, so I could probably get 245s eventually because I still have some pretty good clearance that I could have. But what I really like about these wheels is that they just look really nice. They're really strong forged wheels. Only downside I would say is that they make my stock brakes look so small. You can just see everything. You know, the OEM wheels, you weren't able to like see so much. I'm able just to put my whole hand through because they're like Y-spoke. But which is good because they have so much space between here and the stock calipers, and there's so much space. I will be able to eventually upgrade to a big brake kit, probably from either 271 or some Genesis Coupe retrofits. And now, right under here is, I believe that's the stock springs. It's a little bit hard to see, but I'm sorry, not the stock springs. These are the Swift Spec R springs. I bought those for around $350, and basically they lowered my car by around an inch, 1.1 inches exactly. And combined with the new wheels, it makes the wheel gap look a lot less, which I really liked. So I would definitely recommend these springs. They are slightly stiffer over stock, not much noticeable, but I noticed when driving a little bit harsher or just day-to-day basis, you would notice like it's just a tad bit bumpier. Normal bumps that I usually would not, I have cleared with just like my stock springs, they feel like a little bit more harsh when you just like hit them because it's a little bit of a stiffer ride. Obviously I have some rain guards. I just got these from eBay for around $35. They look cool. I really like the look. And as for these are something I might eventually take off, but I kind of like it. But these are some carbon fiber vents, so the fake vents exactly. Yeah, I got these from eBay for around $30 as well. I kind of like the way they looked, but I can also understand why some people don't like them. But as for now, I really like the way they do look on the car. And then right over here, it's a little bit dirty, I apologize, but I've installed this spoon wide angle mirrors, and I found these to be one of the biggest differences when just like checking for blind spots, because they're able to see so much more. I just do a wide angle, you just see that much more. A lot of times when I was trying to merge on the freeway, I couldn't see very well, even by just like looking at my through my mirrors, but because they're tinted, it's really hard to see, and these really helped a lot. So I got these for around $135. So if you guys really wanted to upgrade, you should go with these. Moving on to the rear. So I think 8 months ago I didn't have these Mugen style lights yet, but these are probably one of my favorite taillights that are on the market. So these I bought for around $350. They're like based off the Mugen style ones. So the real Mugens probably would have ran you back around 800. But I got these from Amazon. I'll link everything back down in the description. But when you just like start the car and then have your lights on, they just look really, really nice. They kind of remind me of like a samurai kind of look. I don't know how to better describe it, but they're also tinted as well. So it just kind of has like an all blacked out look. As for just the middle, I did a little hat trap on this car a couple of months ago. Took it to some guy in Orange County. I'm actually gonna go this weekend to get it redone because there's still some like dirt marks that he didn't really get rid of very well. So, but I really like the way this looked too, because otherwise like I had just like tinted taillights and, you know, just a really bright red hatch. So I think this gives a good contrast. It's like half red, half black. And then I just blacked out the Type R badge. So yeah, as for upcoming mods for just the rear, I do plan on eventually doing a chrome delete, or maybe even doing the badge delete, because the car will look cleaner without it. Yeah, also it's a little bit hard to notice, which is good because I don't want it to be noticed, but I have some tape covering up the holes of where my old Type R spoiler was. I took that off because the Type R spoiler was just bolted on 2 years ago with no support. So eventually it just started like shaking a lot. And I thought this the best action is just to get rid of it. So eventually I will get a new wing. Currently I'm still waiting on a shop to give me a quote on a new carbon fiber Mugen style wing. I don't know how long that will take. It could take months, it could take maybe even like half a year, but I'm just gonna wait, and I think it's gonna stand out a lot more than just a standard Type R wing that every racer wants to do. Yeah, and as for exhaust, I'm still on the stock exhaust, but what I've done to the exhaust so far is a muffler delete, and it's pretty loud. It's not like crazy loud, but it drones too much, so that's why I'm gonna take it to the exhaust shop and install a additional resonator on it, just so I can hopefully get rid of some of the drone while keeping the sound. Let me go, and while we're still talking about cosmetics, let me do the interior. So I've done a decent amount to the interior as well over the last 8-9 months. Also, yeah, with the rain guards, you're able to see this little black mark. So it just kind of hides on your visibility just a little bit. You just have to like kind of adapt. Let's see. So I still have these paddle shifters, which feel really nice. I like them. I have like the carbon fiber accents, the red stripes. But I took it off. I took some off, some of the red stripes off the car because it looked too excessive in my opinion. I think the car looks cleaner without a decent amount of the red stripes. I had red stripes here, but I took those off because I think it was just too much. I took the red stripes off of here as well. And last time you saw the mod list, my Ktuner was over here. And it was just mounted to the windshield with like one of those sticky suction cups. But the thing is, it kept falling off every couple of weeks and it kept like making these marks. And I don't think it looked as cool. So I got a mount from TSP. It was around $30. I just quickly mounted it on here. It's pretty solid. Well, this is still adjustable, but otherwise it's pretty good. I had to rerun the cable throughout my center console and up through here. So it's not like the cleanest look, but when I just like bolt it on, it just kind of looks like that. What else? Oh yeah, so along with that, I also did a pretty good job hiding the wire for LEDs. When I start the car, you're able to see the LEDs and it looks really good, especially at night. A lot of people during the day would like be like, oh, it's okay, it's a pretty nice interior. I'm like, yeah, it's nice. But then when you start the car and you see the LEDs, especially at night, that's when a lot of people get impressed, especially a lot of non-car people. Because a lot of the luxury cars have these ambient lights, so just by adding them to your car just made it look a lot more luxurious. I got it done for, well, I just installed it myself. The kit, the lighting kit was around $15. It took me around 2 hours because I was like kind of figuring out what to do, but since you guys already have like a good layout of what to do, it should probably take you guys under an hour. As for like the back seats, the front seats, they're all the same. Nothing really changed too much. I do plan on eventually switching out these front two seats. They're comfortable, I guess, but I just want something that grips you a little bit more when you drive a little bit hard. So for under the hood, oh yeah, so basically this is like the line I was talking about earlier when you swap out the front hood. This is just me and my friend just doing it ourselves, but we could have probably cleaned it up a little bit better, but this is for the windshield wiper fluid. But that's how that looks. And I'm not gonna lie, the Cybon aluminum hood wasn't that much lighter than the stock one, just because the stock one's already aluminum, so it's already really light. So this is probably just a maybe like 5 pounds lighter. So it's not too much of a difference, but I think cosmetically it's one of the biggest upgrades you can do. Yeah, so I still have the DC Sports strap bar. I got it for like $130. It's advertised to help you with turns and like handling, but I think it's kind of like a lie. Some people on the Civic X forums are talking about how like, oh yeah, after installing a strap bar, you feel such a big difference, and I can firsthand tell you it had like very extremely low effect at all. Without a strap bar, like you wouldn't feel any difference, honestly. I've had a couple of my friends on their cars, they don't even run strap bars because they say it's like not even doesn't even do anything. And I can confirm. If you guys just want to add it just for cosmetic looks, you can go for it. I mean, yeah, it looks cool, I guess, but it doesn't do anything handling wise. If you really want to do really good handling on your car, I would just recommend getting some good coilovers, wheels and tires to help with the grip. Wheels and tires helped me so much, especially with confidence, just in turns. But lowering it on my lowering springs helped just a little bit, but I guess coilovers will be the play eventually after a couple of years. And then obviously I plan on getting rear motor mounts and front sway bars. Sorry, what's that called? Front and rear sway bars, because I've heard those actually do a lot. Not strut bars. Strut bars barely do anything. Anyway, so I still have the same PRL cold air intake, the race MAF. So this has a little bit of a bigger intake housing than the regular street version. And it's a little bit louder than the street one, and it makes a little bit more power when tuned. And since then, I've also had a new catless downpipe, which is right over here. I got these off of some guy on OfferUp for around $250. So the biggest difference with a catless downpipe is you're gonna notice that your exhaust will be a little bit louder, depending on what kind of setup you have, but it will make your exhaust louder. And because there is no cats, it will smell pretty bad. Kind of reminds me of like a go-kart, or just like whatchamacallit. It just smells pretty bad. You don't really notice it too much waiting at a light, but if you're just standing directly at the back of the car where the exhaust is, you will notice it. It is very strong. I also have a catless front pipe that I have. I wouldn't really recommend it unless you're trying to go like full bolt-ons. That's when I guess you can get a custom tune. That's when you're probably gonna notice extra horsepower difference. Otherwise, I would just get a catless downpipe if you just wanted to make your exhaust a little bit louder. Now, I'm still on the stock turbo inlet pipe, and I've heard that it's not really restrictive, especially if you're trying to go big turbo, but I will eventually switch to the PRL race MAF for that one, the big bore one, just because I've heard it helps you just get more consistent airflow. And it's titanium supposedly, so it's gonna look nice along with the PRL cold air intake. Now, most recently, just 2 nights ago, I installed these MA Performance charge pipes. It's also right over here, wrapped in gold. So this was really hard to install. It took us around 4 hours, probably like 35 minutes. It took off, take off the front bumper. And then just the hardest part was trying to take out everything and try to fit it in there, because it was really difficult, but we got it to fit. And then as for the actual intercooler, it's right over here. And if you just walk away, you can notice that it's just slightly thicker than the stock one. But the biggest difference I noticed with a intercooler was that it helps get rid of heat soak, and it's already getting a little bit warmer here in California. And just by flooring it consistently, you notice that you don't get heat soak. So basically it means you're able to drive more spirited for longer. And then lastly, for power mods in the engine bay, I have the PRL Flex Fuel Kit. So what this does is basically it reads the amount of ethanol that you have in your car, and then depending on what you have, which is Ktuner or Hondata, it'll let you know how much you have through a gauge. And the biggest difference with a Flex Fuel Kit is that you're able to start putting in E85 in your car. So before I was only running 91 octane, and keep in mind 91 octane in California is pretty bad. So it's not even comparable to other states' 91 octane. Not to mention other states have 93 octane, so they're already well better off than we are. So that's why I decided to counteract that with the PRL the PRL Flex Fuel Kit. So with this, I was able to start getting a blend of E30, which is around 70% 91 octane and 30% E85. And in order for the car to actually read that, you need to have a brand new tune ready for it. So what you can do is you can get a custom tune by Derek Robertson or Rev It Up Brazil, or even Fearable. So what I did was Fearable came out with a new 2.5 race tune for the non-SI Civics. And they came out with that October maybe. So it was still a really brand new tune. I just did a very little research. I mean, what research I could. I talked to GT Man, talked to some other people online, and they recommended it. So I went with that. The biggest difference is that the top end is so much better, especially the torque as well. I'm hitting the torque limit for the car, which is around 250 wheel torque. So this is probably the highest I'll ever see my torque at, and probably keep it that way. But now the car runs really smoothly. With all the suspension mods and the wheels and tires, it handles so much better than stock. I would definitely recommend all the mods I've had so far. And with the E30 tune from Fearable, I've already like raced a couple of cars and beat them. So some of the cars I've beaten already are like some stock or not some stock, but like some light, like couple bolt-ons on like, Nissan V6s, their Infiniti V6s. I've also beat a 2-liter turbo from a Alfa Romeo Giulia, which makes 280 horsepower. So yeah, so this car is actually pretty quick. It's not like fast, but it's quick. I'm able to like be in a couple of cars. It makes me a lot happier. But as for future mods, so basically the whole reason why I've gone with like an intercooler with like the new charge pipes with the flex fuel kit is because I plan on hitting 300 wheel horsepower on my Civic hatch. So it puts it around like stock Type R territory, just a little bit faster than stock Type R supposedly. So in order to do that, what I need from now is I just need to replace this turbo inlet pipe with a bigger one from PRL, and then I'll go with a drop-in turbo from RV6 ideally at this point in time. RV6 recently came out with their 365 red turbo. It costs $600 more than the regular one, but it has a quicker spool time by 400 RPM. So a lot of people who installed the turbo said they kind of felt like the stock turbo, and like in the sense that like power comes immediately, and it has more top end power. So obviously I won't be able to use the turbo's full limits because I'm limited on this motor. I don't have like the rods built, I don't have the pistons done, I don't have the SI camshafts or the what was it, I think like the SI fuel system. If you had like the SI fuel system and like better rods, you would be able to push 350 360 wheel horsepower. But because we're on the 1.5 liter from the hatchbacks, we have actually weaker rods than the SI, so we will probably be able to push around like 310 320 max. But anyway, that's it for the car. Let me just close this. Wait, there we go. But yeah, that's how the car looks like right now. That's a full comprehensive mod list that I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. I really hope that this guide helped some of you guys out. And if you guys ever have any questions, just feel free to ask in the comments, and I'll always do my best to reply. Until then, Blaze FK7 out.